In this session, we'll be discussing about the CSS Flexbox and the Flexbox properties what we have. So to understand the importance of Flexbox, let's take an example. Let me create a file. And its respective CSS file. Let me link the CSS file. And it is flex.css. Fine. Here, let me have some divisions. We have already seen the display inline block and inline and block elements. So let's see them once again. We have a div with an ID D1. We have another div with ID D2. And we have a third div with ID D3. And to write the respective styles for these divs. So D1 is having height of height of 100 px and width of 200 px. And a background color of red. Then we repeat this for the other two divisions. Let us say this one has a width of 250 and color is cyan. This one is having a width of 300 and this is a line. Save this and run the file. So I didn't specify. Okay, so D1, D2 and D3. Okay, we got these divisions. Now they are block level elements were placed, so they are placed one after the other. What to do if we want to place them side by side? We apply the inline block to them. So I add a class to them, class equal to box. So I copy this and repeat it for all the items. In the class styling, I write display inline block. We get this. They are having different widths, but what is the difference between inline and inline block? If I use inline, there is no height and width. If we use inline, we can't apply height and width. That's why we go for the inline block styling. So we write display inline block and then we can create any kind of layout as we have seen in our previous templates. Now, the only thing that we face here, problem that we face here is we have a gap in between, which we need to deduct by using the margin minus 2px styling. So what we do is we apply margin minus 2px to them so that the gaps disappear. But that is very tedious. we need to keep on applying that again and again. Let's say we have more width, like if I put the width to 33.33%, 33.33%. That means I'm setting them at 1/3. So it looks like this. But if I resize it, it is working fine. Can you see? But when I apply some pixel values, let's say 500 px, then it doesn't work. So if I resize this, all the boxes are coming one after the other when I reduce the screen size. Okay, so all these problems, the gap, the width, all these things can be solved using a new property that is known as the display flex. So for the flex, what we need is we need a parent container for them. So let me have a parent here. Div class is equal to parent, and inside the parent I should have all these boxes. So to this parent I have to apply display flex. Then what will happen? The parent container will become a flexible container. Let me show you now by resizing the window what happens. So remember one thing, we apply the display flex to the parent, not the individual boxes. Here we apply the parent, here we on this parent we apply the flex, display flex, and then let's see now what happened. So now the box looks like this. The parent is flexible, so what will happen now? When I resize the window, they will also adjust according to the screen size. So here I don't need to set the width in percentage or anything. If I don't give any width, what will happen? We don't get anything. So width is important, but it may be in pixels, it may be in percentage, anything. For display inline block, to make it adjustable, to make the boxes adjustable according to the screen width, we have to do two things. We have to apply the margin minus 2px, and as well as we have to apply the width as in percent. But here we don't need to bother about all those things. Only the display flex property is enough. So here we can see the boxes are adjusting according to. So here you can even use percentage values, pixel values, anything. Okay, fine. Now let me apply a border to the parent. Border 1px solid. So how does it look like? It looks like this. So let me make it 2px. So the border, if you observe, it is occupying the whole width. Why? Because this, we are applying the border to the parent. So parent is a div. That means it is a block level element. And when we apply display flex, the block behavior has changed to flex. That means it will still occupy the whole width of the container, but it will adjust according to the width of the screen. See, the changing from here. So at this point, the box size is less than the whole container size, but at this point, the container size is equal to the total box width. So there is another value that we can apply here. Let me reduce the size little bit. let's say 300 px for all of them. Yes, so what do we get here? We get something like this. So they are flexible now. Fine. Now we have another value here that is known as inline flex. So in flex, what is happening? Even if it is flex, it will originally occupy the whole width of the screen, but it will adjust if the screen size reduces. But if we use, instead of flex, if I use inline flex, but there are a lot of problems with the inline flex value. Why? Let us see. It doesn't occupy the whole width of the screen, that is okay. But when we resize it, it is not able to adjust itself. That means it is not becoming flexible like what we saw in the flex. Again, if we apply percent values like this, like 33.33%, what will happen here is it will lose its width. Why? The width has gone. Even if I maximize the screen, we are not getting any width because it is trying to take the 33.33% of its parent, whereas the parent has no div applied to it. Where the parent has no width applied to it. So it is not able to calculate the 33.33% from its parent. So again, inline flex is not working properly. So if we use this kind of percent values, we have to have a width for the parent. Let's say I put the width of the parent as 100%. Then what will happen? It will have a width like this. So now this can be flexible. We can see from here. We can increase the size like this. It is adjusting. Again, this able to adjust at any point. So this is becoming the same like flex, right? When we use the display flex, we don't need to apply width 100%. We don't need to apply all these things. Okay, so this is how it works. And if we apply again here in a pixel size, let's say 700 pixel, what happens here? The width is fixed to 700 px. So now if we try to adjust it, it doesn't adjust. It is not able to adjust if it is a pixel value. Okay, so lot of problems are there in inline flex. So we will use inline flex only when required, but not always. So it is better to go with the flex property. So I use flex. When I use flex, automatically the width becomes 100%. And you can anyways with apply some width here, no problem. If you don't apply any width, it will become what it is called 100%. So let's say I don't apply any width, and now it is 100%. Okay, fine. Now let us move on to some other topics. So what is happening here is, if you see, the items are placed side by side horizontally in this situation. So this horizontal direction, what is the direction happening? What is the direction in which the boxes are laid? It is from left to right. So this left to right in this situation, only in this situation, okay, not in all situations. This left to right direction, in this left to right direction, this axis, it is an axis, right? It is like an x-axis. So this is known as the main axis. Okay, this is known as the main axis. And in this situation, from top to bottom. We don't have anything from top to bottom now. I will show you when we have something from top to bottom. So the axis which will be vertical will be known as cross axis. Okay, we'll see them in detail now when we add some more flex properties to this element. So we have some more property like flex direction. So here what is happening, the flex direction is from left to right, isn't it? So the flex direction, there is a flex direction property which we can change. So flex direction property is left to right, that is known as row, flex direction row. So flex direction is row by default. So if I apply row, it will not change anything. Okay, for flex direction row, the main axis is from left to right and cross axis will be top to bottom. Now if I apply, instead of let me write some 1 2 3 here, 1 2 and 3. Now let's see. So we have 1 2 3 written here. I can make that white color. So in the D1 D2 D3 apply color white. So that it will be visible. Okay, so now you can see I have 1 2 and 3 here. Okay, fine. Now let's see, if I make the flex direction, if, even I can increase the font size so that it will be more visible. Okay, now see, we have 1 2 3 written in big, okay, big letters. So the direction is, you can see from the layout, it is 1 2 3. That means it is going from left to right. So what is left to right known as here? It is known as a row, flex direction row. If I apply flex direction row reverse, what will happen? It is coming 3 to 1. That means it is coming from right to left, not from left to right. The flex direction is changed. So if the flex direction is changed, then what will be the main axis? Main axis will still be on the horizontal plane, but it will be from right to left. When it is flex direction row, the main axis is horizontally on the left to right, and when it is row reverse, it is horizontally from right to left. Okay, and what about the cross axis? Cross axis means it is perpendicular to the main axis. So let me have an example here. So let's say this is the flex layout we have. Then the main axis is known as this. It will run from left to right. So this will be known as main axis. And if it is a flex direction row, then it will be left to right. If it is flow direction row reverse, it will be right to left. Now what is the cross axis? Cross axis is exactly perpendicular to the main axis. So that means this is perpendicular to the main axis. So what it will have? It will be from top to bottom in this case. Okay, this is known as the cross axis. Main axis and cross axis. You need to remember these things for our upcoming CSS properties. Okay, fine. Now let's see. Now we have the row and row reverse flex direction. What about some other values? Like instead of row, let me write here column, flex direction column. What will happen? It will be from top to bottom. Okay, when the flex direction is column, the items are laid from top to bottom. That means the main axis has changed now. In whatever direction the boxes are displayed, that is the direction of the main axis. So if it is displayed from top to bottom, now the main axis is from top to bottom. Now what is happening? Now in this case, when I apply the flex direction column, now the main axis is not here. Okay, and the cross axis is also opposite. So the main axis is on this, and the cross axis is from in the horizontal plane. Okay, so main axis is coming from top to bottom, and cross axis is in the horizontal plane. Okay, so this is how the main axis and cross axis will change according to the flex direction. So now if it is column reverse, what will happen? It will be bottom to top. That means 1 2 3 from the bottom. So here also the main axis is still on the vertical plane, but it is from bottom to top, and the cross axis is on the horizontal plane, same like this. Okay, so for the flex direction row, the main axis and flex direction row and row reverse, main axis and cross axis are same. For flex direction column and column reverse, the main axis and cross axis have interchanged. Okay, so this is how the main axis and cross axis changes according to the flex direction, and in this way we can change the layout of the objects or divisions using the flex direction property. Again, you have to remember that whatever these properties we are applying it to the parent, not the boxes. Let us go back to our flex direction row, and then now we are having only 3 items which are having width as 33.33%. Let us set this width as some pixel values and increase the number of items. I want, let's say 12 13 items. Then what do I do? So let me put this as 500 px, and or maybe 400 px, and then I want to increase the number of items. So d1 d2 d3, this I can just repeat again and again. Okay, I've repeated it 4 times. That means, and let me change the number: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. Fine. So how do they look like? They look like this. So what is happening here is, whatever width I apply, because of the display flex, it is trying to adjust them in one line. Okay, so we are not getting the width 400 px here. Actually, the 400 pixel is the maximum width it can have, but because of the display flex property, the display flex container is occupying the whole width of the screen, and it is trying to adjust all the items here. So if I put here 3 items, it will adjust according to the 3 items. If it is 100 items, all the 100 items will be placed one by one here. But let's say I don't want this kind of layout. I want them to have 400 pixel itself, not to change the width. Only if I resize the screen only, then uh, change the width, but it should come to the next line. That means it should wrap around and come to the next line if there are more items on the same line. It should not adjust like this. Then what do we do? Then we have a property called flex wrap. Flex wrap, by default it is no wrap. That's why we are not getting any wrap. But if we apply flex wrap, then what will happen? Each box will take only 400 px, and then it will come to the next line like this. The other items will come to the next line. Okay, and here the space is not occupied because it is less than 400, so item number 5 was not able to fit here. So if I apply here, if I apply 350, let's see what happens. When I apply 350 px, we can see 5 items are fitting in one line, and each item is having 400 px width, and it is coming to the next line like this. So this way you can wrap the items with each other. Okay, now there is something called gap. There is a property called gap here. Okay, so let us see the gap property here. So here I can apply a gap property, which I can set it as, let's say, 30 px. What will happen then? It will get 30 px gap from all sides, that is in horizontally and as well as vertically. So this gap is a combination of row gap and column gap, two properties. Just like margin, in margin if we apply 30 px, it is taking 30 px from all sides, right? Top, bottom, left, right. So in the same way, this gap is actually a combination of row gap and column gap. So if I apply row gap 30 px, column gap 30 px, that is the same as gap 30 px. So this will give us the same output. But if I change the row gap to 10 px, then what will happen? The row gaps will become the gap between one row and the other. This is one row, this is one column. So how many rows we have? We have 3 rows here, and columns we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Okay, so row gap I have reduced to 10 pixels, so it is getting like that. If I increase the column gap to 50 px, we'll get something like this. We are getting a 50 px gap in between the columns. Okay, so these two can be combined together using the gap property. So if I apply here gap, so after the gap, first value is for row gap. So row gap, let's say I want to apply 20 px, and column gap I want to apply 50 px. Then what will happen? I get something like this. Row gap is 20 px in between the rows, and column gap is 50 px in between the each columns. Okay, now here we can even apply percent values, but as I told you earlier, the row gap value will not take percent values unless and until the parent has a height. Okay, so the parent is not having any height, so it is not taking the percent value. Let's say if I apply gap 10%, what will happen? Only the column gap will get the gap, but the row gap will not get any gap. Okay, this is because the parent is not having any height. But the moment I apply a height to the parent, let's say height is 800 px, then it will work. So now it is able to calculate the percent. So gap is now 10% of 800 px is 80 px gap we are getting here. Okay, like that. Now if I apply 10% and so let's say 5% and 10%, so we will get something like this. Okay, fine. But the moment we remove the height, we get only the column gap, not the row gap. So it is advisable to use either to use only pixel values, or if you use a percent, use it only for the column gap. Okay, either you use it this way or you use it this way, 30 px and 10%. Don't use percent for the row gap if the height is not there. Okay, fine. So this is how the gap works. This way you can create layouts using the flex wrap and the gap. So we are using display flex, we are using the flex wrap and the gap. Okay, fine. Now this flex direction and flex wrap, these can be also combined together, just like we now had combined the row gap and column gap using the gap property, right? In the same way, the flex direction and flex wrap can also be combined together using a property called flex flow. In the flex flow, the first value should be the direction. So what is the direction? Direction is a row. So I'll copy this row and paste it here. And what is the next value? Next value will be the wrap value. So I paste it here. And I can remove this flex direction and flex wrap together. So row wrap, if I apply, it will look like this. So yeah, because there is no gap, so the gap I have removed and it is a wrapping. If I apply no wrap, it will not wrap, it will come in one line. Okay, so no wrap is the default behavior. So if I apply instead of flex, this is row, right? That is flex direction. So if I apply flex direction column, it will look like this. This is how it looks like when it is no wrap. But if I apply here a wrap, what will happen? So it is not wrapping because there is no height. It is taking the whole height. It is keeping on scrolling. So what I need to do, if I am using column with wrap, I have to apply some height to the parent container. Let's say 500 px. Now what will happen? It will wrap like this. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, so according to the height, it is a wrap. So this is how we can use the flex flow shorthand property for the flex direction and flex wrap in the same way that we use for the gap, for row gap and column gap. Okay, now again let us go back to our previous example where we had the only display flex, and the flex direction is a row by default. Flex the wrap is no wrap, where we get this kind of layout. Okay, now let me reduce the amount of items here, and even I will yeah, I have height width is already at 350 px, so I'll remove it. So all these things I'll remove, and let's see how does it look like. It looks like this, and I can even remove the height. Okay, let the height be there, no problem. So what is happening here? We are getting something like this. Now in this container, so normally when we'll be working on our projects, we won't be using this border, so it will not be visible. Now Now see what is happening here. The objects 1, 2 and 3 are aligned to the left. This alignment can also be changed using the other flex properties. So what can be done is we have here a property known as flex. In flex we have a property known as justify content. So justify content, by default it is having the value flex start. So if I apply justify content flex start, it is not changing. What is the meaning of flex start? It This justify content depends on the main axis and cross axis. Okay, it actually depends on the main axis. What is the main axis? For flex direction row, so let me apply the flex direction as well. Flex direction row, for flex direction row, the main axis is on the horizontal plane. So instead of here, so the main axis is on the horizontal and the cross axis is on the vertical. Okay, so whatever is the direction of the main axis, there if I apply flex start, it will be at the start of the main axis. So what is the main axis? In this case, the main axis is horizontally from left to right. So if it is left to right, flex start means where is it starting? It is starting from left and ending at right. Right. So flex start means in the left. Okay, for flex direction row. So if I apply here flex end, what will be the meaning? Where is the main axis? Main axis is left to right. And where is it ending? It is starting at left and ending at right. So if I apply flex end, justify content flex end, it will automatically align the whole item to the right, because the main axis is horizontal and the direction is left to right. So that's why the thing has aligned to the right. But if the flex direction is row reverse and we apply here flex start, what will happen? When the flex direction is row reverse, the main axis is on the horizontal plane, that is okay, but it starts from the right and ends on the left. So it starts here and ends on the left side, right to left, because it is row reverse. Flex direction is row reverse. So the start is on the right. So what will happen if we apply justify content flex start? It will align to the right and in the reverse order, that is 3 to 1, not 1 to 3. So you can see here it has become 3 to 1 and it is aligned to the right, because that is the start for this flex direction row reverse. Now if I apply flex end to row reverse, what will happen? So in the row reverse, start is here, end is here. So if I apply flex end, it will align it to the left side in a 3 to 1 manner. So if you refresh this, so did I save this? Okay, not saved. Row reverse flex end. Now what do I get? If I reload this, I get this 3 to 1 but aligned to the left. Okay, this is how the justify content will change the alignment according to the flex direction. It will always depend on the flex direction. If the flex direction is changing, it will change. Now we have seen the flex direction row and row reverse for the justify content property. What will happen if I apply flex direction column and I apply here? Okay, one more thing we have missed, that is for the flex direction row, justify content, we have another value that is known as center. Okay, flex direction is row, that means from left to right, and we apply center. What will happen? They will all align at the center from left to right, 1 2 3. If it is row reverse, even then it will be in the center but in the reverse direction, that is 3 to 1, not in 1 to 3. Okay, it is a right to left, left to right, and right to left, row and row reverse. Okay, just like that we have some other values as well. Let's say I put here row, and it looks like this, 1 2 3 in the center. Now justify content, space between, there's a value called the space between for the justify content. What happens here? It has space between the objects. Okay, it is not having space around the object, that means outside the objects there are no space, but between the objects, only between the objects. Okay, so if I apply space around, what will happen is it will have space around the objects. Okay, it is having space around the objects. Remember, please note here the space, this left side and right side space is less, but the middle space is more, because it is double the outer space. So if you want equal space from all sides, then you can use another property called space evenly. So this will have equal space in all the gaps. So this is how we can use the justify content property for the flex direction row. So the same thing will happen for row reverse. So row reverse, it will be just direction will be reverse, but the layout will be same. Space evenly, space around will have this, and justify content, space between will have this, but in the reverse order. Same thing. Fine. Now let us go to our flex direction column and let's see what happens. So when it is flex direction column and I apply here flex start, what will happen? Flex direction is column, that means the main axis is on the horizon, vertical. When the flex direction is column, the main axis is this one, the vertical one, and the cross axis is the horizontal one. Cross axis is the horizontal one. Now when the flex direction is column, that means it is from top to bottom, that is known as the main axis. So if I if it is top to bottom, then it is starting from at top and ending at bottom, right? So this will be the start and this will be the end. Okay, so if I apply flex direction start, it will start from top. So let me write here flex start and save this and go to the browser and reload. So I am getting here top to bottom manner, flex direction column and justify content flex start. That is the default behavior. So even if I remove the justify content, I'll not have any changes because that is the default behavior. Now what will happen if I apply flex end? That means when the flex direction is column, start is here, end is here. End means bottom, so it will be aligned to the bottom, just like this. It is aligned to the bottom. And what about center? It will be in the center like this, 1 2 3 from top to bottom. Okay, now the other values as well. Instead of this, we can apply space between, will be like this. Space will be between the boxes. If it is space around it will have space around them, and if we want equal space in all the gaps, then we have to go for space evenly. Okay, now if the flex direction is not column, let's say column reverse, then what will happen? So if it is column reverse, the main axis will stay the same, it will be in the vertical direction, but the start and end will change. Start will be at the bottom because it is column reverse, and end will be at the top. Okay, so let me apply column reverse, and here let me apply flex start. Justify content flex start. So what will happen here? It will have something like this. It will be aligned to the bottom in a 3 to 1 reverse manner. Okay, 1 2 3 from the bottom. If we apply flex end, what will happen? It will be aligned to the top because end is at the top for column reverse. So it will get like this, and as well the other values will also work accordingly. Let's say space between will have something like this, space around will give us something like this, and space evenly will give us equal space from all sides, like this. So this is how the justify content works according to the flex direction property. It is always dependent on the flex direction property. Till now, whatever boxes we have seen, so let us go back to our flex direction row, and let me align it to the center. What will happen here? They are having something like this, and they are having, all are having same height, so we are not seeing any difference. But if they are having some different heights, let's say height is always 100 px here, so I'll change the height. Let's say one of them is having a 150 px, one of them having a 200 px, and one is having a 100 px height. Then how will it look like? It looks like this. Okay, it is looking like this, and all the items are, if you notice, it is sticking to the top. That means it is aligning to the top. Okay, then it means some other property is also acting upon this. So there is another property known as the align items property. Align items. Now this align items property is dependent on the cross axis. It is not dependent on the main axis. The justify content property is dependent on the main axis, so it checks for the start and end on the main axis. But now the align items property is not dependent on the main axis, it is dependent on the cross axis. So now we have to consider the cross axis now. So let's see them one by one. Let me remove all these things. So now we'll work on the cross axis. Now see here, when I'm applying align items flex start, what is happening? We are not getting any changes because that is the default value. So what is happening here? It is aligning. So what is the cross axis in this case? It is flex direction is row. That means flex direction is row means it is from the main axis is from left to right, so the cross axis is from top to bottom. Okay, so that means if it is top to bottom, the start is at the top and end is at the bottom. Okay, now if when I apply flex start, that's why it is showing me at the top. So if I apply flex end, what will happen? For this situation, end is at the bottom, so this will align to the bottom. So let me save this, go to the browser and reload. So it is aligning to the bottom. Why? Because the flex direction is row and the align item is applied as flex end. Okay, so flex start, flex end, and in the same way we can apply align item center. What will happen if I apply align item center? It will be at the center, and all the items are aligned to the center of the cross axis. Okay, fine. In the same way, let us go for row reverse and see what happens there. When it is row reverse and I apply align items flex start, what are we getting? I'm getting something like this. So why it is working like this? Because the cross axis is still from top to bottom. Main axis. Oh, sorry. So this is not the cross axis. I made a mistake here. So when the flex direction is column, sorry, when the flex direction is row, the still the what it is called, still the cross axis is on the from the top to bottom. Okay, whatever we have seen in the previous case. In the previous case, when we applied flex direction row, the cross axis was still the top to bottom, right? In the same way, here also the cross axis is still vertically on the top to bottom. Why? Because cross axis is always perpendicular to the main axis, and the main axis is horizontal because of the flex direction row. Okay, so that's why we are getting the same output here as well. So this is saved. Flex direction is row reverse, align items is flex start. So we are getting the same thing. When I apply flex end, we'll get the same results for the flex direction row reverse and the center as well. Okay, fine. Now let us go to our flex direction column. So what will happen here? When the flex direction is column, the main axis is top to bottom. So this will not work here. It will work on the cross axis now. So when the flex direction is column, the main axis is top to bottom, and so this is the main axis, and this is the cross axis. Okay, so if it is flex direction column, so if I apply flex start for the align items, what will happen? It is looking like this, because the cross axis direction is from left to right. So this is the starting point and this is the ending point. Okay, that's why when I apply flex start, it is aligning to the left. If I apply here flex end, what will happen? It is going to the end, because the end is on this side for the cross axis. If I apply center, it will be aligned to the center like this. And the same things will happen for the column reverse as well. So if I apply here flex start, they will be aligned to the left because the start is here. If I apply flex end, it will be here, and center as well. So Align items will work same for row and row reverse, and on the column side, column and column reverse, the align items will work in the same manner. Okay. Next, we have another property known as the align content property. So to describe this align content property, we have to go for the flex wrap items, because align content will not work if it is only one line of items. So let's say when we have this flex direction as a row, and let's say I'll remove all these things, justify content in my intent. Here we are having only one line of items. There are no two lines or three lines. Multi-line items are not there. So in that case, the align content will not work. Align content only works with flex wrap. Okay. And the height, I will again fix it to 100 px. Okay. So it looks like this. Now, let me have the repetition again. So we had here something like this up to 12, right? And I'll apply the, if I don't apply flex wrap, that comes in one line. If I apply the flex wrap as wrap, then what will happen? They will come one after the other. Okay, fine. Now here I can apply the align content property. Now see here, align content. If I apply flex start, what will happen? This will all stick to the top. Okay, align content flex start, this will go to the top. But if I remove the flex wrap, this will not work. There is no change. Okay, so we need multi-line flex items, only then it will work. Okay, so now let me check for flex end. So when I apply flex end along with wrap, it is coming to the end. But is it working with no wrap? No, it is not working. If it is not wrapping, it will not align to the bottom. If you don't have the flex wrap property and you are trying to apply align content flex end, these things will not come to the bottom. Okay, so for that, with the flex wrap should be set to wrap. Okay, only then it will work like this. Then we have align content center. So let's say center, what will happen? It will be like this. And what are the other values does it take? Are there any other values? So space around, space between, these are also there. So space around is this, space between is this, like this. And if you want evenly, then you can go for evenly like this. Okay, this is how you can align the items, give the gaps. And if you're not satisfied with these gaps, you can use the gap property that we used earlier, that is the row gap, column gap, and the shorthand gap property. Okay, so this is how you can align the items according to the according to your requirement. Now what will happen if we have it as a row reverse? We get something, so row reverse, yeah. So it is coming from the right to left, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, like that. And if I apply here space around, so they will have the similar kind of behavior. Now if I go to column, what will happen? When it is column and I am applying here flex start, so it is aligned here to the right, because the start is this side. Okay, so it is working on the cross axis. Then if I apply flex end, it's going to the right. Okay, fine. Then What about align content center? So it will come to the center of the cross axis. Okay. In the same way, we have the column reverse, where we can see if I apply flex start, it will be aligned to the left as well, because the cross axis is not changing, but only the order is reverse. And if I apply flex end, it will go to the right side with the column reverse behavior. Same thing will happen for the center as well. Okay, so this is how you can change the alignment horizontally, vertically, and also when the items are wrapping. So when there is no wrap, then you can go for align items and justify content. But when it is with a wrap, flex wrap is set to wrap. When it is wrapping, when it is a multi-line flex item, then you can go for align content as well. So here justify content will also work, align items will also work, align content will also work. So in this I can use something like all the values. Let's say justify content space evenly. So what will happen here? It will look like this. Then I have the align items. Let's say, so align items will only take 3 values. Let's say I apply flex start, and align content, if I apply okay center, then it looks like this. So because here the align content is overriding all these things, so if I remove the align content, you can see we are getting something like this. But the moment I apply the align content center, everything comes to the center. Okay, so we have all these possibilities of aligning the content. If I apply here flex end, again it will go to the end. If I apply remove the space evenly and apply around, I get something like this. So space around has changed for these 2 items. Okay, here it is not able to adjust it because there are no gaps. Okay, that's why it is not able to adjust. Otherwise, if I increase the height, let's say height I am making it to 800 px, now it will be able to adjust it. So the things are getting adjusted. Okay, fine. So we have one last property to discuss, that is known as the order. So for that, I want to go back to our I want to take only 5 items, and I want to go for no wrap. So that means I'll remove all these things, and flex direction also I'll remove it, so it will be flex direction row. Okay, save this and we get this. 5 items are there. 1 2 3 4 5. Here I can change the order of the items. In what order it is showing? It is showing us in 1 2 3 4 5. So by default they have an order of 0. So there is a property called order. Okay, and this order is not applied on the parent, it is applied on the child. Okay, so let me take 3 items only, because I have 3 divs, only 3 styles are there, otherwise I have to write more styles. So they are all having an order of 0. So if I apply order 0 to d1, it will not have any change. If I apply order 0 to d2, again there is no change, because the order is still 0, because that is default value is 0. So this will not even change anything even if I apply to the d3, because all items have an order of 0 by default. Now, if I apply an order of -1 to the first item, let's say I applied -1. So now what happens is -1 comes before 0, isn't it, on the number line? So what will happen? These two items are having an order of 0 and this is having an order of -1. So what will happen? This item will come first. So even if I apply -1, it is coming at first, but we are not able to see it because it is already at the beginning. But if I apply this order -1 to the D2, so what will happen here? D2 will come now to the beginning. In the same way, if I apply the order -1 to the D3, the D3 will come to the beginning. Okay, this is how the order works. Now, if I apply, let's say, let me remove all the orders. So I removed all the orders. Now it is in the normal order 1, 2, 3. Now, if I apply order of 1, that is more than 0, to the D1, what will happen? These two are already at order 0 and this has become order 1. So it will come after the zeros. So that means D2, D3, after that, after the 3, the D1 will come like this. Okay. So you can change the order like this. So let's say I put here order 9. Here I put the order as 3 and here the order is, let's say, 7. So what will happen? First order 3, that means D2 will come, then increasing order 7, that means D3 will come, then D1 will come. That means 2, 3, 1 is the layout. This is the layout 2, 3, 1. If I change this order 7 to 0, what will happen? This will come first. 3 has come first. If I apply to D1, if I apply -7, this will come first. Okay, 1, 3, 2. So this way you can change the order of the items. Okay. Let's say we have a flex container like this and we have a lot of divs inside it, which are colored boxes. Let's say red, blue, green, yellow. So all these are having a background color of red, blue, green, yellow, and so on. And each box is of height 300 px and it has a border 1 px solid. And the parent container has display flex applied around it. So we haven't applied any width to the boxes, individual boxes. So how does it look like? It looks like this because there is no width applied to it. And whatever width we are getting here in this black thick line is because of the borders, because we have 1 px solid border on all boxes. So that is adding up and showing us that black strip. Now, in flex items, there's a way to initialize the width of each object. So for that, we have a property called flex basis. So let me set the flex basis as 50 px for now. That means each box will try to have 50 px. So how many boxes we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 into 50 means 450 px will be the total width of the flex container. So that's how it looks like. So this is the total width. The total width is 450 px and each box is 50 px wide. Now, when we resize our window, so we can see this flex container has a maximum width of 450 px. It cannot go beyond 450 px. We can see that. Okay. And when we reduce the size, again it is getting smaller and smaller like this. Okay, so we can even control how much big the box can get when we resize the window, and how much small the boxes can get when we reduce the size of the screen. So let's discuss those parameters. Now, first thing what I want here is when I set the width, let's say I set the width at 450 px. What is happening? And this is the 450 px width. At this point, we are getting 50 px, 50 px width boxes. That is fine. But when I increase the size of the window, I want them to be flexible, and I want them to increase in size and align with the whole screen width. Okay, so when I have the maximum width, I should have all the boxes. The boxes should come up to the right border of the screen. And as I have applied 50 px to all of them, that means I want them to have equal widths all the time. So when it is 450 px, that is okay, but I want that even when the screen is of total width, that means a bigger screen, I want them all to have equal width, and I want them to come to this end, up to this end. So what do I do for that? For that, I have a property called the flex grow. So let me apply here flex grow. If I apply flex grow 1, that means all will have a ratio of 1. 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1. And flex grow 1 means it can grow up to a factor of 1. Okay. So let's check that. Go to the browser, and when the screen is at 450, we'll see there is no change. Let me reload the page. We don't have any change. But when I increase the size of the screen, we can see that it is increasing gradually. It is increasing gradually. So this way, when I take it to the whole width, here also I can see that the width ratio of each box is 1. All are having equal widths of, it may not be 50 px now, but it will always have that ratio set to 1. All will have equal widths. Okay, now that is the thing. And what is happening when I'm reducing the size? Again, they are adapting according to the width. Now let's say when the width is set at 450 px, when the width is set at 450 px, what will happen? There is a neither it will grow nor it will shrink. It will have a flex basis, that is the initial width of 50 px always. Okay. Now, but I want the page to have 50 px. I want the boxes to have 50 px width when the screen size is 450 px. But when I increase the size of the screen, I want the lime colored box. I want the lime colored box. Which box? This box, to increase up to a maximum of 2x. Whatever be the size here, now everything is 1x. When the total width is 450 px, who is deciding this 450 px? This is decided by the flex basis. If the flex basis is 100 px, then the total width will be 900 px, because there are 9 boxes. But now the flex basis is 50 px, that is the initial width is 50 px. So the maximum width of this whole box is set at 450 px. But when we increase the screen size, because of the flex grow, it is increasing gradually, and all are having equal width. But when I increase the screen size, I don't want all of them to have increased width. I want all of them to be equal except the line box. I want the line box to be double when I increase the screen size. So what do I do for that? For that, I can individually apply flex grow 2 to the flex grow with a value of 2 to the line box. Remember one thing, flex grow 1 is applied to all the boxes. because this box class is present in all the boxes. So flex grow is already applied to all the boxes, but I am overriding the line box with flex grow 2. So what will happen? There will be no change when the width is 450 px. But when I increase the size of the screen like this, we can see the lime green boxes width has increased little bit. When I keep on increasing like this, we can see now the green box is even bigger than the other boxes. So it is increasing gradually, but it will only increase up to a maximum of 2x of the other things, because I have applied flex grow 2. So it will go up to a double of the other boxes. Okay, this is how we use the flex grow property. But when it is at 450 px, then 450 or less, then there is no change, because at that time it is we are not applying the flex grow for that, and they are adapting accordingly. But when the size is increased, it can grow. It may not grow, but if it has the ability, it will grow up to a maximum of 2x. In the same way, let's say I want the blue box to grow up to 3x. Then what do I do? Flex grow 3. I'll set the value to 3. So now we can see when it is 450 px or less, there is no change. But when I increase the size beyond 450, I can see the blue box is increasing in width. So at maximum place, we can see that the blue box has got 3x the space of the other boxes. So let me close this window. We can see here the blue box is the 3 times of red, green, yellow, magenta, cyan, blue and pink box, and the green box is double the other boxes. So it is in the order of 1 is to 3 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 1. So green is at 2x, blue is at 3x, others are at 1x. So this is how the flex grow property can be used. So they will grow up to a maximum of 3x and 2x respectively. Now this is the case when the screen size is increasing, but we also have something when the screen size decreases beyond the limit. What is to be done? For that, we have a property called flex shrink. Now what is happening? I have set the flex basis at 50 px. That means maximum width is 450. So let me set it at 450. I get this. When I decrease the screen size, what is happening? They are decreasing gradually, not in any ratio. So I want them to again shrink in such a ratio. Then what to do? Let's say I want this light blue, this is cyan or and yellow box to become half of their size, half of others when I shrink the screen size. Then what is to be done? Then I can apply a flex shrink property. It works exactly opposite of that of flex grow. So let us go to the yellow and let me apply flex shrink 2. Flex shrink 2 means it will become not double, it will shrink in 2x. That means it will become half. So yellow and the cyan just after the magenta. So here I'll apply flex shrink 2. Now let's see what happens when we go less than 450 px. So let me first set it at 450 px. It is at 450 px. We can see there are no changes. Even if I increase the size, only the flex grow is working. So now let us go back to 450 and try to decrease it. So when I decrease the size, we can see the yellow and cyan is becoming smaller and smaller. Okay. So this way the flex shrink can be used for shrinking the size when the screen size goes beyond the limit, and when I increase, the blue and green, lime green, are increasing in size because of the flex grow. So we have seen three properties: flex basis, which is setting the initial width of each box. Then we have seen the flex grow, which is deciding how much the boxes will increase when we increase the screen width. And then we have seen the flex shrink, which is deciding how much the boxes will decrease in width when the screen size has decreased. Okay, so at this point we can see, because of the flex shrink, the yellow and cyan boxes have decreased in size. Okay, now all these three properties can be combined together in a single property known as flex. So let us see that. So in the flex box, that is the box class, we have applied flex basis 50px, flex grow 1, and even flex shrink 1 is also there, because flex shrink, flex shrink and flex grow will have a default value of 1. Even if I don't write the flex shrink, it is having that value. Okay, so there will be no change when I apply the flex shrink 1. So this is the behavior we get. Now these three properties can be written in a single property, like flex. This is the flex property, that is a shorthand property for flex grow, basis, and shrink. So first we write the flex grow value. What is the flex grow value for this? It is 1. Then what is the flex shrink value? That is also 1. So I write here 1. And one is, what is the flex basis value? This is 50px. So I write here 50px. Now I can remove these three things from here, and I can have a single property, that is flex 150px. Now what this will do? This will have no change here, because that is the same thing we were doing earlier using the three different properties. Nice. Now let us apply this to all the boxes. So this same property will be applied to other boxes as well, but it will automatically get applied to all of them. But wherever these values are changing, flex grow and flex shrink, we need to change it there. So here what is happening? Flex grow 3 is there. So instead of flex grow 3, what I will write? I'll write in this way. So I just need flex grow 3. So I'll change the grow value. For the yellow, it is the flex shrink value which is changing. So for the shrink value, I'll change. Whereas the flex grow, I'll not change it. Here in the same way, the flex shrink value was not changed, so I'm setting it at 1. In the same way, here flex shrink is changing, not the flex grow. So I'll set it at flex shrink. So I'll make it 2. And then the line one, only flex grow value is changing, so I'll change the flex grow value. Fine. Now we'll get the similar output here. So there is no change. We can see when we are at 450, all will look equal. When we reduce the size, we are getting the yellow and cyan as reduced width. We can see their reduced width. And when we increase the size of the box screen, we can see the blue and green have increased in size. Right? Now let's say I want to apply both the properties. So on the sky blue box, I want to apply flex grow as 2, flex shrink as also 2, and flex basis at. So here when I reload the page, I can see when I reduced, when it is at 450px, there is no change because all are at 50px. Now when I reduce the screen width, I can see that the yellow, cyan, and even the sky blue is reducing in size. Why? Because I have set the flex grow for sky blue box as 2. So it is shrinking. And when I increase the size, what should happen? When I increase the screen width, it should become double of the other boxes. So when I increase the size, I can see the blue box, sky blue box is also increased. So it is having a width equal to the lime green box. And when I decrease the sky blue, decrease the whole screen, I can see the sky blue is having a width like the cyan and yellow color. So this is how you can apply flex grow, flex shrink, flex basis on flex boxes, and you can club them together using the flex property. Now we will try to create this layout using flexbox properties. We have already designed this template using the display inline block. So this time we'll try to display this template using flexbox. Okay, so this sample template I have kept it open in Firefox. So we will do our task on Chrome. So we'll come back to this template for reference. So let me create a file, index.html, and its respective CSS file. Let's say style.css. Let me link the CSS file to this HTML file, and here we'll start creating the layout. Now, so in this layout, we'll be totally using the display flex and flex align, justify align content, align items, all those properties. So we will not use the display inline block anywhere. If we use display inline block, we have a lot of problems, like we need to set the margin to -2 px. We need to adjust the height, width, all those things. Okay. So here we'll not go for all those things. So simply we'll use the flex properties to create this layout. Now, as we will be using flex properties here, so lot of properties will be there which will be repeated again and again. We need to use them again and again. So those properties, I'll write it at the top as some common styles, okay, in the CSS. So let me set some common styles here. So I'll make this a comment. So that means the below styles are common styles. So what are the styles? So the body gets has a default margin. So I'll make that margin 0. Then we'll change the font style of font of all the text. So we'll use the universal selector to set the font family. Font family is, let's say, Verdana. Then we have the display flex property which will be applied on all containers. So I don't need to write the display flex again and again for each container. For the navbar, for the banner, for the footer, I don't want to use it everywhere. So I'll create a class called a dflex, and I'll use that class wherever I need it. So here I'll set it as display flex. Then what else we need? We need justify content. Okay, so I'll again create a class called the justify content between. So the class, what this class will do, it will set the justify content to space between. Then we have justify end. We will need it because to align the item to the right, we need the justify end as well. Justify content end. So here justify content flex end. Then we have the justify content center to center align the item. So justify content center. Here it will be justify content center. Then we have the align item center to align items vertically. So instead of vertical align middle, we'll be using align item center. So no need to apply vertical align middle to all the items all the time. If we have 3 items, we need to apply vertical align 3 times to all the items. Here only one, that is align item center, will be applied to the parent div, and it will automatically align the items to the center. So align items center. So this will set the align items to center. Then we will have some other CSS classes. So flex properties are over. Now we have some things like this page is having in most places the text white is there. White color text is there in most of the places. So we'll even create a text white class for that. So text white class, what it will do, it will set the color to white. Then we even have somewhere text gray like this one. Okay, so we'll have a text gray as well. Dot text gray. So this will set the color to gray. Then we have the text capitalize and text uppercase as well. Here we have text capitalize. Here these buttons we have text capitalize. Here we have text uppercase. So all these things I'll set it here. So text uppercase. So this will be text transform uppercase. Then text capitalize. Text capitalize will be text transform capitalize. Okay, so that's it. These are the common styles. Okay, now we'll start with the layout. So what do we have at first at the layout? At first we have the nav bar. Okay, so that is the nav bar. So I'll start creating the nav bar. So inside the body I'll have a div which is having a class of nav bar, and inside the nav bar what do I have is I have two things, image and the list item. So I'll create a flexible container div class equal to dflex, and I'll also apply, so they are placed end to end, right, to the left and to the right. Image is left, text is right, that is nav bar is right, nav list is right. So I'll apply the justify content between that I just created the class. So justify content between, I already have the class here. So justify content space between will be applied. Okay, fine. And also we need to align them vertically also, otherwise we need to apply vertical align middle again at the end. So I'll apply the align items center as well. So now I'll create the two things. What are the two things we have inside this? First we have the image, which is having image is having, okay, so the images are not there. So let me copy the images from the previous example and paste it in here. So let me get the images. Okay, so I'll copy the image and paste it in our folder. So now the images folder has come here. Now I can use the images. So images, so that is the logo. So I'll use the logo. What is it? Website logo. Okay, then after the image we have the list item. So we have the UL. In the UL I'll name this as class equal to nav list, and this image I'll name it as class equal to logo. Then inside the nav list we have li. So many li will be there. So to each individual li, I don't need to apply display inline block. Instead, I'll apply the deflex here. So it will apply the display flex from the CSS. It will apply the display flex. Okay, fine. Now, what is each item? We have home. So we have home, pages, portfolio, blog, and short codes. Okay, so home, pages, portfolio, blog, and short codes. Okay, fine. Now this is the name bar. Now let us see how does it look like. It is looking like this because the image width is not set. So let us now set the image width and all those things. And also, if you see, we have the padding, main padding from all sides. Let us apply all those things first. Okay, we'll go to the styles. Just after the text capitalize, I can give another comment for the nav bar. So this means this part is for the styling of nav bar. Okay, fine. So in the nav bar, what do? I have the padding, master padding, that is uniform, that will be uniform for the whole page. So let's say 10px and 100px. Then for the logo, I need to set the width. The width is not set, it is becoming too big. So I'll apply the width as 150px. Okay, now let's see how does it look like. It's looking like this. Okay, then what are the next things I need to do? Then I have to apply the on the nav list, that is the ul is the nav list. So on the nav list, I have to apply dot nav list. I have to apply list style type none. So this will remove the bullet points. Okay, now what is to be done? After that is applied, here we need some gaps in between. So what I'll do, these list items are inside the nav list, right? So what I can do here, I can write dot nav list space li descendant of selector, and here I can apply some margin. Margin is 0 for top and bottom, and left and right I want to put it as 30px. Save it, go to the browser and reload. We got the what it is called layout. Now we can inspect it. We can see whether everything is working fine or not. So we can see they are center aligned. They are aligned to the center. They're not creating an issue. And images here, boxes here. Okay. The image may look a little bit small here. You can adjust it if you want. You can increase the size of the image by using what is the image? This is the logo. You can put here height. There is a value called fit content. Now it will become little bit bigger. Okay, now it is set to the total size. Okay, no problem. Even if you don't use it, it will not create any problem because the text align item center is already there. If you want the image to fit it, then you can use it like that. Okay, fine. Now the next thing is, so only with this much styles the nav bar is complete if we use display flex. If you go for inline block, you have to write lot of styles. For each of them, you have to apply margin, width, percentage, all those things. Okay, fine. Now let us go to our next section. What is the next section? We have this banner, big banner, which has two parts. Left side is some text, right side is an image. Okay, so let us create this part. So here we'll have a div called banner. So div class equal to banner. Inside the banner, what we will have? We'll have two parts, banner info and banner image. So on this banner, I'll apply the deflex because we'll have two things, deflex, then align item center. Okay, now here we'll have two divs. First div is the banner info, and the next div is the banner image. Banner image. In the banner info, what we have here? We have some text, which is, let's say, h3, h2, paragraph, and one button. Okay, so h3, in h3 we have some text, and again these all are having color white, so we already have that text white class which we can use. So in the h3 it's saying construct looks good on, something like that, and we can apply the class equal to text to white, and also the text capitalize class that we created in the CSS. Text capitalize means text transform capitalize. You can use that class there. Then we have the h2. What is the h2? H2 is all screen sizes. So all screen sizes. So for this, what class we will apply? Again, text white, and along with that, text uppercase, because it is in uppercase, right? That is done. Then after h2, we have the paragraph. So in the paragraph, we'll use this text, whatever we have here. Let us just copy this and paste it in our paragraph element. Here as well, we have the classes text white. So only the text white is enough here. Okay, fine. This is how it is looking like now. So did I save it? Okay, it is text white, so those things are not visible. The moment we apply the background color to banner, it will be visible. Okay, don't worry. Then we have, after the paragraph, we have a button. Oh, sorry. We have a button here. Inside the button, what is written? It is written here, purchase now. So I'll write here, purchase now, and link. Okay, so our banner info part is complete. Now in the banner image, what is there? In the banner image, we have only one image. So dot slash images slash, that is text.png. Okay, now let's see, are we getting the output here? Yes, we are getting, but we just need to, button is coming, image is coming, text is also coming, but it is in white color, we are not able to see it. So let us now adjust the width, height, all those things, background color of the banner. Okay, so in the banner, what do I write? So we have a dot banner class, where we first need to apply the main padding, whatever we had. Okay, so padding is, let's say, 30 px, 100 px. Then we have a background color. So background color, I can pick it up from here. I can inspect it and get the background color. This is the RGB value for the background color. I can use it in my styles. So like this. So save it, go to the browser and reload. We are getting the background color. Okay. Now we need to adjust the other things. So what are the other things? Banner is done. Then after the banner, we have banner info and banner image. I want to put it at with 50-50%. Okay. Or maybe I can apply the what it is called, instead of applying 50-50%, what I can do, I can align them side by side. So what I can do here itself, I can apply justify content between. Okay. So it looks like this. Because the image size is not set, it is still looking not that nice. Okay. Okay, fine. Now what about the next thing? Next thing is the text is already done. For the text, we don't need to write any styles because whatever styles were needed, I applied it here. Text white, text capitalized, text uppercase, all those things. So for the button, what I can do, I can apply some style here. So dot banner info, dot banner info. Inside dot banner info, we have the button where we apply some color. Color we can go for that RGB value that we had here. And after the color, I want to add some padding to the button. Let's say 10 px, 20 px. Then font style, I will apply it as italic. Then some font weight bold. Okay. So the button is having this shape now. Text is also visible now because of the white color. Okay. Now let us go to the image part. Let us modify the image. So banner image, what I'll do is banner image. Inside the image, I have the image element. Here I will set the width to, let's say, 80% of the whole width. If I make it 80% of the whole width, it will look like this. Okay. So that is fine. Now let us see what is happening here. This is the banner image box, and this is the image. So the image can be put to the right, so that we can get a gap here. For the banner info, that is fine. For the banner info, it is looking fine, but for the image, it is sticking too much to this part. Okay. So what I can do is in the banner image, so dot banner image, what I can do is I can apply text align right. So what will happen? It will stick to the left. So this is how the thing looks like. Okay, fine. Okay, so now what is the next thing? So this is done. Image is done. You can even reduce the size of the image if you want. Okay, the image size is now 80%. You can make it like 70%. So it will be less in size. Okay, fine. Now what is the next thing? That is the next banner, small banner we have here. What is the small banner? That is the info banner. So that is a small banner. We will create another info banner. So after the banner is complete, we can make it mini banner, no problem. We can name it as mini banner. So in the mini banner also, what are the things we need? We need again deflex. Display flex will be applied and align item center. In the mini banner, what are the things we have? We have on the left side this part, and then on the right side we have this part. Okay, so let us name them something. Let me name it as left and right. Okay, so I have a div, so I'll name it as info left, and another box I have, that is the info right. In the info left, what are the things we have? We have two things. One is this one, and there is the button. So I'll apply deflex to the info left as well. Deflex to the info left. Then we have gap in between, so I'll apply the justify content between, and also the align item center so that they are vertically aligned. Okay, then inside the info left, what are the things we have? We have two things. One is this part and another is this part. Okay, so that means this is one division, this whole thing is one division, and this is one button. So I'll create a div. In this div, I'll have the text, that is some h5 text is there. This one I can put it here in the h5, and then we have a paragraph which is having this text. Here we will apply the text gray. We had already created the text gray, so I'll apply it here. Oh, it is a paragraph tag and apply it here. Okay, so in the paragraph I can directly add class equal to text gray. Okay, fine, this is done. So let me make it h4, no problem. Okay, now after the div we have the button, so I'll create a button. In the button, what is written? In the button it is written by construct, so I can write here join edupoly. Okay, then this part is actually over. You can go for the info right. What is there on the info right? Info right, again we can apply so they are coming one by one, so no need to worry about that. So let us display like this. We have one div, so let me write the h5. It is an h5. We'll see what is to be done. What is written there? Construct is flexible. I'll place it here. Construct is flexible. Then I'll have this text which is inside a p. Okay, and this read more. For this read more, I want to create a span which I want to put it inside the paragraph here like this. Okay, fine. Now how does that look like? Let's see. It is looking like this. So we have to apply the styles. Now if you inspect this, what are we getting? This is the info right, this is the info left. Okay, so justify content between is present on the so in the mini banner we are not having the justify content between. Okay, so for that we'll apply the justify content between as well here. Justify content between. So now what will happen? It will be placed side by side, but the padding is not applied, that's why they are coming very close to each other. So let us adjust those padding and adjust the margin of these lines so that, and the font size so that they will look nice. Okay, Fine. So now let us go to the styles part and let's see what is to be done there. So here, after the banner image, I'll create the info banner class. So in the info banner class, what do I write? First, I'll apply the padding, whatever padding we want. Let's say 30 px, 100 px, and then the info left part. In the info left part, what is to be added? In the info left part, I am to add a padding. Okay, padding is, let's say, 50 px, and again the thing is, yeah, okay, fine. Info left, I'm adding a padding only on the right side. Okay, let me not add that now. Let's see how does it look like. So it is looking like this now. So where did the padding didn't get applied or what? Let's see. What is this mini banner? I had named it mini banner. So I have to write here mini banner. Okay. After applying the padding, it is looking like this. Okay. Now I want to see this button. Where is this button? It is here. Justify content between, but I have to move this to the end. Okay. So this box is the main box. This is the second box, and I can apply a padding at the end of this button. This what it is called? This box. Okay. So let's see that. So here in the info left, I apply a padding right of 50 px. Now see what happens. It is getting a gap here. Fine. Now I can move this box to the end. So how to move that box to the end? Let me first remove this justify content between, and let's check what is happening. So that gap, we are not getting it. Okay, no problem. So let us do one thing on this. So let us remove this justify content between. So in the info banner, this is mini banner, we are having deflex align item center. So let me remove this and do one thing. It looks like this, right? Now what I can do is, to this info left, I can apply some that is width. Okay, I'll give some width percent. Let's say info left, let me apply the width as 70%. Now it is looking like this. Now what I can do, I can apply the, so here we have the padding. Now here we have a padding so that it is getting that thing. Now if I apply here justify content center, justify content between to the inner box, what will happen? Justify content between. So this is adjusting it. Okay. So this has moved the button to the left, and this is to the right. So justify content between means justify content space between. So space between is creating a space in between the two elements of this container. Okay, fine. Now what is to be done? Now these we need to remove these gaps from these things. So what I'll do, in the info left, what was that element? That is h4, and also the p dot info left p. What do I apply here? Margin as 0, and some font style we can apply, that is italic. Okay, now we get something like this. Okay, the same thing is to be done for the other part, that is for this one. But before that, let me style the button just like this. So info left button. So what do I write here? Color, padding, font style, font weight. So same thing, we can use it from here. Okay, I got this. Now for the right side. So for the right side, what is there? Info right, we have H5 and P. So first, let me remove the margins. Info right, we have H5, and info right P. For them, I'll remove the margin first. So they're looking like this. Okay, and the font size I want to reduce little bit. For the info right P, info right P, I'll to set the font size to, let's say, 12 px. Okay, that is looking nice now. No, yes, a read mode should be blue in color, right? So dot info right and what is the color? Color I had already used somewhere in this button. Same thing, I can put it here. I get this. So it is blue in color now, and let us inspect and see if there is anything wrong. So we have this box here, mini banner. Inside the mini banner, we have this info left part and info right part. Okay, both are aligned. Item center is applied to the parent, so both are aligned vertically in the center. The same way, the second div is this one, that is info left. So in the info left, we have one div and one button. Both are for both of them we have applied justify content between, so space is coming in between, and these things are all aligned in vertically in the center. Okay, fine. So this part is over. Now what is the next part? Next part, we have this features part. Features banner is there. So let us go to the features part. In the features, what we will be doing, we will be repeating one feature again and again. So dev class equal to features, features, and then inside the features, what will come? One feature will come. So div class equal to feature. So how many times we will repeat this feature? We'll repeat it 5 times, right? 5 times. So let me create one single feature and then we'll create copies of it. Okay, and these features will have the deflex class, because each feature will be placed side by side, right? So inside the feature, what we have is, I'll take this thing as one div and this thing as one div. Okay, so I'll create two divs inside the feature box. So div class equal to deflex, that icon and that part will be deflex, and it will be in the center. So I'll apply justify content center. Okay, then inside this div I'll be having the icon class. So div class equal to icon, which will be the gray box, and inside the gray box I'll have the image. So images dot slash images gear fill. Okay, so this part is over. After that we'll have the other box. What is the other box we have? That is, so we don't need to create another box. Actually we'll have the h4 and p, both are block level elements, so we can place it just side by side. What is there? We can write that design is written there, right? And some dummy text is there. So what is the dummy text? We can take this dummy text and put it in a p. Okay, so this is the feature we'll have, and we need to create copies of this one. Okay, so let me create the copies. 1 2 3 4 5. And what are the things here? It is written flexible. So after design it is flexible. After that we have support, and then we have easy to edit, then we have SEO ready, and the images are different. So let me set the images. After this gear we have shuffle people speedometer laptop. So this is the shuffle, then we have the people, then we have speedometer, and then we have the laptop image. Okay, fine. So how are they looking like? They're looking like this. Okay, so image is coming, but the colors gray and all are not added, padding is not added, these things are not having any padding, in between margin is not there, so that's why these things are looking like this. Let us now write the styles. So from the beginning, if we see, what is the container name? It is features, right? Features. Okay, so in the features dot features, what we'll be having here, we'll have the padding first. Padding is, let's say, 30 px, 100 px. So it look like this. Padding is coming from left and right. Now what is the next thing? For each feature, I can apply a width of 20% because it is 1/5. So they'll come like this. Already it is 20% actually. Then I'll apply text align center. So let me remove the width 20% for now, and let's see whether there is any problem or not. So everything is aligned to the center, fine. Because even if you don't apply width 20%, it will always be equally divided by flex, unless and until you give some width. We are not giving any width, so they will automatically be 20% for each item. Okay, fine. Then after the feature, what is to be done? For the icon, the gray color and all are not come. So for the icon class, what do I write here? I'll set the fixed size of the image. Okay, so I'll make it, so that is a circle. We have to make a circle. So first we have to make a square, then we'll apply border radius 50%, so that it will become a circle. So this is how we convert a square to a circle. So height is also 100 px, and then we need to apply some padding to it. Okay, so padding I'm applying 25 px. So that means padding is 25, height is 100. That means the image size should be 50 px. So that 25 plus 50 plus 25 will become 100. Okay, fine. After that, we need a background color. Background color I need it as gray so that the white image will be shown. Okay, padding is done. Then border radius for making it circle. So border radius is 50%. Okay, that is also done. And also the box sizing property I will apply. So box sizing, I'll put it as border box. Save this and reload. If I don't use the border box, what will happen? The circle will keep on becoming bigger and bigger because of the padding. Okay, now the image size we have to fix it. The image size should be 50 px according to the padding. 50 plus 25 plus 25 will give you 100. Okay, so here dot icon space image, here I want the width to be 50 px. So save this and we got this. Okay, features are looking totally fine. And we can, here we are having very less gap in between the text, so we can increase the text little, padding little bit for the paragraph. For this it is okay. For this text we can change little bit. So what is it? Actually it is inside the feature box only, isn't it? Inside the feature we are having this p. So feature space p, here I want to apply padding of 10 px, let's say. Okay, save it, go to browser, reload. Now it is looking fine. All are having the main padding, and then the 20% width we are getting for each box. Okay, fine. If you inspect it, you will come to know like this. Each, this is the features box. It is equally divided into 5 equal parts. After giving the padding, then each feature is coming side by side like this. Okay, fine. Now the features part is over. Now we'll go for the next thing. What is the next thing? We have a footer here. Okay, we'll I'll try to create this footer. So just after the features is ending here. So here I'll have the footer. Div class equal to footer, and we'll apply the deflex here because two boxes are there. Which are having different widths. So we need to apply some width percentage as well. So div, so first part I'll name it as footer text. So footer text, and the next part will be footer bar. So this is the footer bar. Okay, now inside the footer text, what do we have? In the footer text we have this normal text and an icon. Okay, so in the footer text I'll place one paragraph. What is the text we have? Stay connected with us in your favorite flavor. So I'll copy this and paste it in the paragraph, and after the paragraph I have one image. So images dot slash images caret right field. Okay, and I'll apply some width to this image. It is having, if I don't apply the width, what will happen? So the image is white color, so it is not being displayed. So let me apply background color to that footer. Then let's see. So I'll go to the styles, and here dot footer. Oh, that is footer text, right? So footer text, because both the part is having different color, background color. So footer text background color, I have to take a darker color. So what is the color here? It is this one. So I'll copy this and background color, I'll paste it like this. I'm getting this. Okay, and the image is coming below. So we have to adjust it side by side. So how do I do that? So footer text, I had already applied the so in the footer text the deflex is not there, so we have to apply the deflex here so that it will come by some side by side, and also I'll apply the align item center so that it will be aligned to the center. So this is how. So the icon is looking little bit bigger, so what I can do is I can reduce the width little bit, width equal to, let's say, 14 px or something. Yeah, and to this p I can apply the text white, class equal to text white. So this is how it is looking like. Now I can apply some padding to that. So how much padding should I add? Let's say 50 px from both sides. So footer text, what is the footer text? Here, along with the background color, let me put a padding that is 0 and 50 px. So it is looking like. Now the next bar, we have to create the next bar. What is the next bar? Next bar is the footer bar. Okay, so footer bar, that will be below this. Okay. So in the footer bar, what is to be given? In the footer bar, we have all the social media icons along with some text. So what I'll do is I'll create divs. How many divs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divs I'll create. So let me make one first. So inside the div, what I'll have one image and one text. That's it. Nothing else. So image is dot slash images slash Facebook. Then after that we have some text, that is just pen paste Facebook. Okay, same thing, I'll repeat it for how many times? 6 times. So we don't need to set any width for all these things, it will automatically adjust it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so after Facebook, what we have? We have Twitter. So in the Twitter we have twitter.svg. After Twitter we have the LinkedIn. LinkedIn.svg. After LinkedIn we have the RSS feed. So RSS fill. Then we have the dribble. And then we have the Google Plus. Put here google.svg. Okay, so it is looking like this, but we didn't apply deflex, so these things are not looking good. So in the footer bar, I'll apply deflex. So now it is looking like this. Okay, footer bar deflex, and we want a space in between them, so I'll apply justify content between. So footer bar, what is the footer bar? Yeah, justify content between. Okay, not center. Center will not create space between them. Okay, fine. So justify content between is applied, but why it is not looking like this? If we inspect, we will see that the width is not up to the total. See, the total width is only up to here. So what I can do is I can apply some width to this whole container. How much width I should apply? Let's say, let me apply 70% width to this and 30% for the footer text. Okay, footer bar, let's say 70% for this, 30%, and then let's see what will happen. Okay, so footer text, where is the footer text? So footer text, I'll apply width as 30%, and for the footer bar I'll apply width as 70%. So now it has come side by side. Now what else to be done? Here in the footer bar we need some padding also. Otherwise it is not looking nice. It is coming here. So let me add a padding. Padding is, let's say, from the top and bottom I don't want anything. From the left and right I want 50 px, because I had added 50 px to this icon in what is it, footer text. We applied 050, so here also I'll apply 050. It is looking like this. Okay, icons are there but they are white color, so they are not getting the color. So let me apply the background color. So background color, the light color we had, background color for other things, for the banner, whatever background color we have, apply the same background color for footer bar. So we are getting this. Okay, and the text should be all color white, right? So in that span, either you can apply text white to all of them. Okay, as equal to text white. Save this, go to the browser, reload. We got all these things like this. Okay, now what is the next thing to be done? Here footer text is done, footer bar is done. Okay, so in the footer bar we have applied with padding background color, that is fine. And then, so footer bar, we have a div inside the footer bar. This div, if we apply justify deflex and then align item center, they will be automatically aligned to the center. Here we are not getting them in the center. Okay, if we inspect this, you will see that it is not aligned to the center. Okay, so let us do that. So dot footer bar space div, I'll apply. So that footer bar, we don't need to apply it here actually. We already have the classes. So here I can do one thing. So to all these divs, I can apply the class. Okay. So class is equal to d flex and align item center. Copy and paste it in on the classes, all the divs. So what do I get here? Oh, so the divs are getting big now. Okay, fine, no problem. We'll adjust it. So footer bar, did I apply to the footer bar div? Yes, deflex align item center, that is missing. Okay, so now all are aligned to the center, and we need a gap between the icon and the text. So what I can do, I can write some styles here. So dot footer bar image, I can apply margin right of npm. So we are getting a gap here, and that is looking just like the original one. Okay, so this is how we can create templates using display flex, which is a better way than the inline block whatever we had seen earlier. Okay, that's it.